Hey guys, Coach Bricks here. Hey, I'm back. I wanted to build on the AI thing, and I wanted to get into it with more or less devolving. All right, so I got some great comments, questions about it, where I stood on the whole thing. And I'm kind of indifferent in the sense is that I think it could be used for good, okay, but I don't think it will be. And here's what I mean. I think because man's inability to humble itself. I'm not saying everybody, but man's ability, the people who run the show, okay, uh, won't be able to control it. It's going to be out of control. It's going to take over because man craves power. Okay, it's just what it is. It's not me. It's just how it is. You look at it in all aspects of the world. All right, even people that I know that were humble one time. There's a lot of people, even in my industry, that become so power hungry. Okay, you get a little bit, and all of a sudden it takes off. And I know because I was there. Okay. I wanted to be in with the cool group, the group that, had the power. But I found out that most of those are frauds. Most of those guys really don't practice what they preach. Okay. They're only looking for the quick dollar. Okay. Yeah. Do they want to help people out? Yes. But at the end of the day, it's about their money and their intake. That's why they charge astronomical amount of money. And they only look at a very narrow window for somebody. And that's just how it is. So with this whole thing, when I talk about AI and how it's going to devolve us even more than what we already have, let's go back. All right, let's take steps back. So how did man get around? I tell my kids all the time, you want to get around, you got 2 feet. God provided you with those 2 feet. Okay. That's how we got around from point A to point B. Now we didn't travel real far because we didn't have the means for me to go from the United States to, let's say, Mexico. It'd be very difficult. It would take me a long time. I could do it, but it'd take me a long time. How long? I have no idea. However long it takes to walk, okay, and run somewhere. If I wanted to get to Europe, probably wouldn't happen unless I, got on a board or something and floated across the ocean. Right? Those are the things that I was talking about. Okay, so then we came up with, horse and buggy. We came up with cars. We came up with boats. We came up with, we came up with airplanes to get from point to point. That has devolved us. Now, granted, that devolve, okay, has also helped us in some ways because now we're connecting more with other people. Okay, it gets me to see things that I would have never seen before. I would never be able to see parts of Europe if I didn't have that ability, if I wasn't born there. Okay, so some things are okay. But now let's go to the calculator. I mean, now we're getting a little bit more. The calculator, when it came out, it was an expensive product, probably $200, $300 for one of those calculators. All right. I mean, you can get them now for like 15, $20. But those things did what? They started to take away this brain power, right? Stuff you had a long division. I remember doing long division in school. We still had that. You don't have to do it anymore. You just put it into a calculator, calculator spits it out. No, or you now you will go into the next phase, but that's what it did. All right. Then you get to computers now in schools. Right? And computers started doing more thinking. Then you got to your phones because phones are like a computer now. They do more. So we devolved even more and more. And so then we wonder why certain things are on the rise, certain cancer, certain Parkinson's, certain chronic disease, dementia, Alzheimer's. All these are on the rise, but we can't ever get to the root cause. We're always like, well, we don't know why. We devolved. We're devolving out of what we truly are or who we truly are as humans. We become less human than ever before in human history. Okay. And you can't say that I'm wrong. Okay. You can't prove me in any facet that I'm wrong. Now, there are some people out there that are trying to maintain that they own farms, they work on that kind of stuff. They do those things, they prep, they do all the stuff humanly possible to still be human. See, humans were not meant to sit for long periods of time. Humans were not to sit, get to an age of retirement, like in the United States. You want to get to 60, 62, 65 and retire, and you want to have this massive celebration. And then what typically happens? The person falls apart. Chronically, they start to fall apart. They start to have more issues. And we all call it age. But that's not true. Because when you have a purpose in life, guess what? You don't age like that. Because why? They've done studies with people in the blue zones. Okay. And if you don't know what the blue zones are, go look them up. I know Netflix did a special. But people who had purpose as they aged and got older, out of retirement, the 80s and 90s, people who lived to these hundreds, right? They had purposes of what they needed to do. So they were relied upon by people. That's why you see grandparents love to have grandkids. because it's a purpose. Oh, I'm going to miss your grandkid because that gives them a purpose again. Okay. It's so important that you have a purpose. But when we devolve so much, then it's not. When we think about me, which we're in that society now, we've been in there for a long time, but it's only getting worse. We're falling apart. So the de-evolution of humans has been well underway. It's just now going to accelerate with the technology of AI because AI will do most of the stuff for you. Okay. It will think for you. It will tell you. Okay. It will, you won't even need to go outside anymore, technically, for a doctor. And we saw this 5 years ago. I saw people devolve 5 years ago when the so-called thing came around, right? And everybody was shut inside. When people came back out, they were devolved beyond capacity. And some people still are. A majority of people, I think 20, 30%, have still not gotten out of that phase, if not more, because they were allowed to work at home. And bosses figured out, hey, I can shut this building down, not have to pay rent, just pay for their computer or whatever it is. They can sit at home. So people devolve. Now, people think, well, I go and work out, that I'm not going to be devolved. And that's not true either. Okay. Working out 1 hour a day is not what I would consider. Yes, it is important, but there's more to it. Okay. So much. And if we don't realize that, we're in serious trouble. Okay. So we have to understand that for us to get to a certain place in society, we have to become devolved. We have to get back. You have to start going back to your roots. And that's what I'm trying to do with my Earthstrong. Earthstrong movement was created because of that, because I wanted to find a different way of healing. My body was not healing right, spiritually, mentally, physically. I wanted to find something different. And so this came about, the Earthstrong movement. And I wish more people would jump on board. Okay. I'm not one of those huge preppers. Do I do things that I need to do? No question about it. Do I take care and understand certain things? No question. Okay. But I understand the body. I understand what I need to do to make sure that my longevity is there. Okay. Not just for myself, but for my kids. And that's the important thing. Making sure it's there for my kids, especially my wife. And it's there. And if you're a man, okay, and you have a family with kids and you have a wife, you're one of your top priorities should be yourself and taking care of yourself. You can protect and provide for them and lead. If you can't do those things, then you got to question yourself. Now, I know a lot of people out there, like, I got a gun, yeah, that's great. Okay. That's fantastic. All right. I'm happy for you. But you need to have physical ability to make sure that you're healthy. Okay. If something happens, you can chase somebody down. If something happens and you're in a wrestling, you can do something about it. You can ward somebody off, fend somebody off till some more help comes. You got to be able to do these things. But see, we're so devolved that we can't. I see so many guys that are so out of shape. I see the way they walk. I watch, and I'm an observer. I observe so many different things: how people walk, how they move, how they interact, how they do all this stuff. And it just amazes me that we've gotten to this point in society, that we've gotten so far away from being human. And people aren't even realizing how bad it is because they've slipped into this cauldron of, well, okay, well, I'm comfortable. I'm good. I feel good. Yeah, I'm sick. I had to take 18,000 medications, but it gets me by. Okay. My blood pressure is low. Not because I did anything about it, because I popped some pill that eventually will not work anymore. It's just how it works. Okay. Your body can't take all this synthetic bull crap forever and think that you're going to be okay. That's why you die, because you're taking this stuff for so long that your body eventually is like, it don't work no more. But you can't see that. Instead of getting to the root cause, fixing it, and seeing the greatness you could perform what God wants us to do. So that's why this mission has come about. That's why, you know, I'm not a big fan of AI, because it's just going to make us weaker. It's going to make kids weaker. It's going to make us more devolved. Our brains are going to start to shrink and get even worse. The memory, that the stuff they're all doing is just going to be astronomical, and nobody wants to address it. We keep thinking this is the greatest thing. And trust me, there's guys that I know that I highly respect that love it. They said you either embrace it or you're going to fail by it. Okay, that's fine, because it's here. I agree it's here. But you're also going to fall into the trap, because it's very difficult. Once you're in there, it's very difficult. And we saw this 5 years ago. Once they got people into there, they can manipulate and control anybody they want to. Okay. That's how it works. AI will do that. You're already starting to see AI starts gaining conscious, and nobody knows really what to do. We're just blowing it off like, oh, it's never going to come. It is coming. It is here, actually. The movement is here. Okay. And I think it's going to be a lot worse than what anyone of us can imagine. I really do believe that it's going to be an iRobot type thing, unless we have more people reaching out, standing up, getting back to understanding what human is. Start getting emotions, feeling yourself, understanding, how I should feel in certain situations, what a human being is. Okay. Because that is what's going to separate us, be a resistance against all this technology stuff out there that is just continues to devolve, makes us even weaker and softer than ever before. We don't need that. Okay. There's a bunch of other things I'll be going over by bringing us down and how we can actually get this back. But one thing is my number one thing you have to do is you have to start